Hello, my name is José Gerardo, and in this video I'm going to talk about an amazing experience I had in Asia. For my SEMANA I project, I chose to go to Asia, and in this trip we visited two amazing countries, Singapore and Malaysia. The trip was very long and we had around 23 effective flight hours until we arrived to Singapore. We arrived on Saturday, and here's where my journey began. On my first day, I met a couple of friends and we decided we didn't want to waste any time resting or doing anything that did not involve visiting places that were not in our schedule for the project. So that day, we took a walk from the hotel to Ionor Court, which is a very big place, and it's like Fifth Avenue on New York. Later on, we took a bus to the night safari. On Sunday, we booked a hotel room in the Marina Bay Sands because we wanted to go to that amazing infinity pool. On Monday, we finally began our project. We visited the Mexican embassy in Singapore, and there we met the ambassador, which talked about how life is in Singapore, how many aerial connections does Singapore has, and how do Mexicans live there. It was a very interesting talk because he gave us an insight of Singapore. So, how can this be applied in Mexico? When we talk about flight connections, we talk about how many aircrafts get into the country, and if we want more aerial connections too, we'd have to make a change in the tariffs charged when the products get to Mexico. To make a more fluid economy, its challenges would be the approval from the government and how the international affairs with other countries are. The second practice I would like to have is that we can offer a better social care for our citizens because that matter in Mexico is not well developed. We can do same as Singapore by constructing buildings for homeless people. This could be done by expending part of the federal budget to it. Two cultural things about the Mexican embassy are that they do cultural Mexican events in Singapore, which the Mexicans that live there are invited, and also they encourage people to enroll in the Mexican embassy as part of it to be invited to these events. After that, we went to the Nanyang Technological University. There we visited the whole school, and we went to the different departments. And the one thing that can be applied in Mexico is the ecologic building they have. This can be done by the Tecnológico de Monterrey by making another building that is eco-friendly and as awesome as theirs. By the other hand, in Mexico, we can try as them to make partnerships with different enterprises such as BMW or Toyota, so we can help them develop different products in a bigger way as them. Speaking the cultural way, we assemble with this university because in Tecnológico de Monterrey we accept several exchange students, and this make ourselves more international. But in general, in Mexico, that is not quite developed in other schools, so the government should make more attractive the educations here in Mexico by making more modern public schools and by being more caring about students. On Tuesday, we went to Surbana Jurong, and it was an amazing speech they gave to us. In Mexico, we could make them come here and develop a sustainable urban solution by analyzing what we need and what could be done in order to make our country greater. This could be done by the government by contacting them and making an analysis about our needs. Another thing that could be done is that they could pair with students of Mexico to develop different projects. Speaking in the cultural way of this enterprise is a very good one because it helps other countries to develop their infrastructure and urban development, and that is an essential way to make a country better. And by the other hand, they help countries that are in the development that makes this enterprise even better because it helps those who need help, and that makes this enterprise have international leadership. Later on, we visited New Water, and this is an exceptional enterprise because of what it does. Several of these actions can be applied in Mexico, so just treat wastewater. They taught us that this could be done via microfiltration and reverse osmosis and ultraviolet technologies. If we did this in Mexico, it would help a lot of poor villages where there is no purified water. Another thing is that this could be implemented in Mexico to be sold to industries that require purified water, and with these gains, the enterprise could help poor villages in their development. This could be done by the support of big enterprises in Mexico and the government. When we talk about the cultural way of this enterprise, it's awesome because this water is consumed by humans, but it's mostly used by industries that require high purity water. And their procedure to obtaining this water is very good because of all the cleaning of it. On Wednesday, we visited DHL Express. This was another awesome place to visit because it is a new hub that opened recently in 2016. One of the things that can be implemented in Mexico would be the infrastructure they have in the hub and the logistics behind everything they do. It's an amazing place to work, and although the hard work, the operations in the operations department, because there's no air conditioning in this area, so they must deal with the warm weather. Also, we can implement part of the process they have in the operations department. Here in Mexico, if you want to do things more efficient and also to use more technology as them to raise productivity in our industries, this could be done by reaching for help from DHL in pair with the government. When talking about the culture in there, I personally asked how the work environment was, and they told me that it was great and the workers were satisfied by working there, and they also helped the organization and the operation workers when they needed to. So that's a great cultural side that makes them have international leadership. Later that day, we visited URA Singapore City Gallery. What we can implement in Mexico from that gallery is that they show a physical transformation in the last 50 years to become one of the most livable cities in Asia. So we can do this kind of planning in the future so we can aim for something better in our country. Also, we can implement long-term planning as forward-looking and integrated land use planning and partnership between private and public sectors. So that can be achieved. In the cultural way, they aim for long-term planning and create solutions balancing different needs, and also a very good conservation design and strategies to create a distinctive Singapore. On Thursday, we went to the National University of Singapore. From this university, we can implement in Mexico its intensive research they do in biomedical and life sciences, physical sciences, engineering, nanoscience, nanotechnology, and so many more areas. In Mexico, we lack of research at school, so we could develop a new program that encourages public and private schools to develop research among universities and to thrive in this matter. On the other hand, they have a JEL NUS College, which is a joint project between these two schools, and that could be done in Mexico too among Tec de Monterrey and any other school around the world to develop project in pairs. Among the cultural way we assemble with this university because as Tecnológico de Monterrey we accept several exchange students, and this makes ourselves more international. But in general in Mexico that is not quite developed as in another school, so the government should make a more attractive education here in Mexico and making more modern public schools and by being more caring about our students. And also in this university they are one of the best around the world, so that means their academic level is excellent. When we go to Malaysia, we went to Madrid. Things that can be implemented in Mexico from there could be to have an enterprise that promotes Mexico's export and enable more local companies to carve new frontiers in global markets. Also, to this company to make the phrase made in Mexico synonymous with excellence, reliability, and trustworthiness. This could be achieved by expending more budget in promoting more or local Mexican companies. When we talk about the cultural way they help these companies by promoting them and by making them better day by day. And with new entrepreneurs, they make more growth to Malaysian businesses. This is what I learned from my trip to Asia, and this is how I think Mexico can be better now and in the future.